Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Manifest with KK. I'm KK and I'm here to talk about all things that I've been able to manifest without the YouTube law of assumption community and all of that chaos that's out there. So today I'm going to be sharing with you another success story. Actually, it's more about self-concept, the term self-concept, and what I was manifesting many times, and I didn't even know I was manifesting this. And the reason why this is so important is that I believe so many of us are walking around not realizing what we actually think is influencing things directly happening to us or not happening to us. And so I'm going to be talking about something kind of fun and also something that I realized. Actually, before I jumped on, I was doing my makeup and I was getting ready to film a couple videos for you all. And I was writing down in my notes in my phone all the different topics that I can potentially talk about with you guys. And to be honest, I was like, God, there's got to be so many more topics that I can touch on. And as I was getting ready, I was like, let me do a topic on something like self-concept related, because so many of us don't realize like what we think about ourselves, what we repeat back to ourselves, what we tell our friends, what we tell our family, what we just believe is actually a direct correlation to what we experience. So today I'm going to be talking to you about when I was younger in my 20s. I used to go out a lot, like a lot. When I first moved to Dubai, I was young, I was in my mid 20s, and I was always going out, ladies' nights, having fun with the girls. And I had this belief that like nobody would approach me, like no men would come up and talk to me. And that belief was a very strong belief that I carried for pretty much a really long time. And it used to chip away at my confidence, and it used to just continuously exist and persist every single time I would go out. And I'm talking about I would go out a lot, like a lot. So this topic is probably really timely because so many of you who are probably stumbling onto this video probably think like, what's wrong with me? Nobody comes up to talk to me, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, so you probably have maybe some self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues. But at the end of the day, it was my belief about myself. It was what I was telling myself and what I would say over and over again to my girlfriends. And also I had this belief that like guys would always come up to my girlfriends, but not up to me. And every time I would go out, that would happen. Like the men would come up to my girlfriends and ask them for their number or chit chat or chat them up and buy them a drink, but like men would never come up to me. And I don't believe in that idea of like I'm intimidating. I usually smile, I usually give the signal. I think that that's kind of an important thing about the feminine masculine balance. But that's not the point of today's video. The point of today's video is really about what I believed, and it was mirroring in my reality. So that self-concept, that belief I had at the time, I didn't know it was called self-concept. Like that term did not exist. This was more than 10 years ago. So that term self-concept, what I believed about myself was actually persisting in my reality. And whether I was just getting ready or whether I was having a conversation with a girlfriend, that was what was happening every single time. And I always felt like if I would go out with this one particular girlfriend, men would always want to talk to her and not me. So that was another belief I had heavily carried for a very long time. Again, it goes back to that idea of how much you love yourself, how much you think about yourself, how you feel worthy. Your self-esteem is tied to that. It kind of is all entangled with one another. And what you feed your mind consistently, day in, day out, will show up in your reality. Whether you're thinking it in the shower, whether you're driving in your car, whether you're putting your makeup on, whether you're getting whatever, a haircut, you are literally creating what it is that you want. And believing about yourself will show up in your physical reality. I don't like to use all these like new terms that you see on YouTube, like 3D and 4D and 5D. It's whatever the hell you are thinking about is gonna show up. Let's just call it what it is. Like whatever the hell you are thinking about is going to show up in your reality. So if you're consistently thinking about the same thing, that is what is gonna happen. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful for you because I know that so many people struggle with, self-esteem issues, self-concept concerns. Am I doing this right? How much is too much? Am I thinking, am I not doing enough if I'm not affirming 10,000 times a day? I think that was like a affirmation challenge. All you need to do is just work on loving yourself. Like that is the simplest way to do that. And there's so many different techniques or therapies or podcasts or teachers out there that can teach you figuring out ways to love yourself. I'll give you some examples of how I've overcome this belief about myself, and now I don't have this issue. Like, actually don't have this issue at all. Actually, funny enough, because I live in Dubai, I always felt like, and this is actually a belief that I've carried for a long time too, I always believed that because I live in Dubai, men are not going to approach me. But when I go back to the States where I'm from, it's so easy for men to approach me. And that is still a belief, funny enough, I still carry today. And I think it has something to do with just the dynamic. And that's just my belief, right? Like, that's just how I view things. Is it right? Is it wrong? This is my reality. This is my belief system. I can choose to flip that thought and change it, and then my reality can show up how I want it to, right? So it's all about our perception. It's all about how we see ourselves. It's how we see the situation. It is all flexible, moldable based off of what we believe. And so I really think that this is important. Like, if I want to change this belief that, oh, men will approach me anywhere in the world, like it's so easy for men to approach me. Actually, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm having this conversation with you guys. I used to have a girlfriend who lived here, and we actually had a conversation not too long ago, maybe about a year ago. And she used to tell me, I feel like it's so easy for men to approach me. Like, everywhere I go, men approach me. And it was like the complete opposite feeling that I have when I'm in Dubai. And so she's like, no, like, I feel like men just constantly approach me. And that is her reality. Like, I've been out with her a number of times, and everywhere we go, men come up to her because she had that belief that, like, no, like, I constantly like get men coming up to me left, right, and center, like all the time. Like, they're always asking me for my number. They're always asking me out. Like, this was her belief, and that was showing up. Every time I had gone out with her, this is what would happen to her. Every time I had gone out with that other girlfriend that I mentioned, and I always believed, oh, she always gets guys' attention, that's what was showing up. When I believe that, oh, nobody wants to talk to me, nobody wants to approach me, oh, it's Dubai and it's not this place or that place, that's what was happening. So again, we are deciding ultimately and telling ourselves a story that may or may not be true. Like, it might be true because you're experiencing it, but because you're experiencing it doesn't mean it can't change. Like, there's so many teachers out there saying, like, you can change the situation if you really want to. And so I feel like if I really want to change the situation, I would need to believe something else, right? And I would need to change and decide to change that thought. And that's something that I think many of us struggle with, and we struggle with self-esteem, loving ourselves, believing we're worthy, believing that we're lovable, believing that we can attract amazing people, or we can attract people in general if that's what you want. I mean, it all depends on your awareness. It all depends on what you believe about yourself. I mean, there's so many variables. This video is kind of all over the place, but I just felt like it was so important to share that confidence, self-concept, what we tell ourselves, what we feed our mind consistently. Before this YouTube LOA community even existed, you have been manifesting. You have been creating your reality. So if there is something down that you'd like to share in the comments, like something that was perpetually showing up over and over again, maybe it was a relationship or types of relationships you were attracting, or maybe it was up and down weight, or maybe it was like, money, where you would make a lot of money, but you weren't able to keep it. You make a lot of money, you weren't able to keep it, like this pattern. There's always something that we're telling ourselves. There's always some belief behind each of these scenarios, each of these patterns. And if I think back to my life time and time again, that is exactly the case. So I'm looking forward to sharing more of my, I guess, I don't want to call them success stories, but like more like my diaries. I should name this channel Diaries of KK or something like that. Manifesting Diaries of KK. I don't know. But I just feel like this is just a channel where you can actually just realize that you have a very powerful self-concept. You have manifestation built within you. You have this beautiful intuitive nature that creates a life, whether you desire it or not desire it. It is happening whether you like it or not. So it is important to be a bit more awake or spiritually awake to what you are thinking about. Reflect on how you think about certain situations that are bugging you, that you don't like. What are you telling yourself? What story are you constantly complaining about to your friends, to your family, to yourself, crying about? I mean, it's so important to catch these things because I have firsthand been able to flip things around. It's not easy. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, but I am telling you that it is possible and that you too can have a totally different experience than what you have been experiencing for a very long time. So I hope that this video, even though it was a little bit all over the place and I was coming up with more things as I was talking, I hope it was helpful for you, and I cannot wait to catch you all on the next video. And by the way, stay tuned. More stories are coming your way. Ciao, ciao.